This is Umar for BoxNation. I'm joined by Moses Itauma. I always refer to him as the future of the heavyweight division. You know how it is now. We're at Park Chinois, doing a bit of media today. Nice lunch, Moses. Something a bit different for you. You're always plugging away in the Ben Davison Performance Centre. How was it today for you?
It's all right, I actually struggled to get it. My phone died, and I couldn't find the place. But I'm here now. I'm live and well, and you know, talking boxing.
Yeah, you strike me as a man who just wants to get on with his craft, his training. But days like this, they're rarity. They are needed to build someone's profile and stuff. And you're getting to that point now of stardom. It's going to come. So these days are necessary, Moses.
I mean, yeah, but then obviously there's people in boxing who sell tickets, and there are people in boxing that are known for knocking people out. So I mean, I wanna have that little cross between them, and I mean the superstardom stuff. Like I said, I'm not really worrying about that. I'm just worrying about you know getting the job done.
You don't have to worry about it because we know how blessed you are in terms of talent.
Hmm.
Um, and I look at the heavyweight division at the moment, and there's some very good fighters. Obviously, Alexander Usyk springs to mind, elite fighter. But he's coming to the end. Tyson's retired. There is a void that needs to be filled. And when I look at the scene at the moment, everything points towards you. Do you see it like that as well?
It's like when you're watching it from outside the ring to when you're watching it inside the ring, and like cool, like you might think that, but in my mind, I do see like a couple fighters that are like cool, yeah, he's learning, or in a few years that might be a tough fight for me. So I mean, step by step, we're gonna get there. But I wouldn't say I necessarily disagree with you, but at the same time, like I just gotta make sure that I've got to prove whatever you say, I've got to prove you right.
Let me ask you a blunt question then. Do you rate the heavyweight scene at the moment?
Honestly, not really. Don't get me wrong, there's some great fighters, but I feel like once the Usyks and the Furies and the Tysons and the Joshua's are gone, I don't really see too much talent. But there are some guys that are learning their trade.
I know you've done lots of rounds with Daniel Dubois. You rate him though?
Yeah, you have to. Of course, you have to. But I don't think you have to rate Daniel. Obviously, he's a very, very, very good fighter. Obviously, to this his career that he's had so far. But I feel like when me and him meet, it's going to be a different story. It's just a matter of time, really, isn't it?
I think it is. Right, there's a few things to go through. So first, let's just deal with this. Charles Martin a few weeks ago called you out. There's not many people who do call you out, so just get a response to Charles.
Like who is Charles Martin? Do you know what I mean? Like nobody knows him. Like, do you know what I mean? He got knocked out by Joshua in 2 rounds. He lost to Dryden Anderson on a 10 rounder. Do you know what I mean? Like, who is he? Do you know what I mean? If he's serious and he wants a nice little retirement payday, then I'll give it to him. But apart from that, I don't really gain nothing from fighting him. Like, he ain't got no ranking or nothing.
Listen, there's a Canelo Crawford card coming up in September in Las Vegas, so a quick trip to Las Vegas and
All the man, I would not mind that at all. I don't even think I'll need a training camp for him, honestly.
should see your manager's reaction to that, Francis Warren. He loved that. Francis, do you want to come in for a second?
Only one mic.
You might have to
Well,
control
budget,
it.
is it budget? It's a bit tight.
Gonna have to speak to your dad, Francis, about that. So you heard his response about Charles Martin. Do you go along with that, Fran?
Absolutely. I mean, I think it was a little while ago he first piped up, didn't he? And I said to all the guys, I said, do you fancy Vegas in September on the undercard of that? And I think that's hopefully where you picked it up from. Sometimes people do listen, but I think I just echo what Moses just said. It's like, he came over as King Charles and he left as a pauper, didn't he? After Anthony dealt with him, and I don't feel like he's risen up and done much since. Listen, America, there's a lot of good club fighters that talk a good game, and I'd put Charles Martin in that bracket. However, he used to be a world champion, so on paper, to press, to boxing fans, it'd be maybe one that people buy into. You've got a young rising star here who everyone believes is, including myself, is the future of sport, boxing. And if Charles Martin wants to be part of that journey and put his name in this man's history, that's fine. But he is definitely not someone that we should have been spending this much time talking about, for sure. But listen, Charles Martin, if it can be done, Queensberry get it done, and he'll prepare for it accordingly, and it will be a quick night's work, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, I just asked him. You might have heard the answer about how he sees the heavyweight division at the moment, because the three guys who've been around for a long time are coming to the back end of their careers. And I said, like, speaking honestly, do you see a big void in the division? How do you rate the scene at the moment, Francis?
Listen, it's lively, it's active, and I think that's the most important thing. For the heavyweight division, any division, but particularly the heavyweight. I said, almost heavyweight division is a different sport to just the sport of boxing. These big guys put it all on the line, and fair play to them all. They're all fighting each other, they're all beating each other, and a loss doesn't necessarily mean the end for any of them, But this, Moses is coming up very quickly, hot on their heels, and there's not many out there that that he's sitting there thinking, "Oh, we'll swerve that one or avoid that one." I think if the opportunities present themselves, obviously the team will discuss each and every offer and potential opponent in detail, what are the pros and the cons. But in terms of the heavyweight heavyweight international scene, let them all keep doing what they're doing, because this guy will be around to clear up soon, and he will be the flag bearer for the division very, very shortly.
What's the next move?
May. We want May. We've got to get a fight date sorted out. There'll be some big Queensberry cards in May. I'm sure there'll be, next Saudi card will be sort of May, June. I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure that will be in and around the time that that's usually the usual gap between the cards for Riyadh season. And we want to get Moses out and get him a date as soon as possible. Obviously, we were trying to see that. We wanted to see the fallout from the weekend. Had had Joseph Parker boxed Daniel Dubois. A few bits and pieces might have freed up that we could have slipped in for. But however, there's always moving parts in boxing. You've got to be very fluid within this sport, and I'll make sure that alongside Queensberry, my father and my brother, that we present the best opportunities, and that what's right for Moses and his career, nobody else's, as far as I'm concerned.
If you just hand the mic back to Moses. Moses, hearing Francis Warren speak like that, your manager, never really asked you actually about your thoughts on your manager. You got his dad, Hall of Fame promoter Frank Warren, backing you all the way. They tell me off camera how much, how excited they are about you, and they want to see you achieve your dreams. What's it like having Francis as a managing promoter, his dad?
Of course, it's a big blessing. Having them part of the team and everybody's part of the same goal, everybody's on the same page, it just makes life a lot easier. Obviously, with the history that they have, like, that was one of the standout things that kind of I looked at, and I like the relationship that they have together, and I just think like we got a good team. We've got a good team, and obviously, like, puts a lot of pressure on my shoulders, because it's no point having a good team and then I'm not doing my job in the ring. So I feel like I'm taking everything as it comes, and like I said, I'm grateful to be part of that team, and obviously even like being part of Queensberry, like, they've got so many heavyweights, like, it's a joke. And then any of them fights, they can easily be made, innit? So
Easily.
trust
me, I'm driving mad every day. Come on, let's do this, let's do that, let's do this. But it's hard to get the fights done. It's hard to get the fights. I just wanted to. When you say being part of the team, he's like the young inspirational captain. It's like Tony Adams being the 21-year-old captain at Arsenal when you've got all these old stalwarts around the team. I'm not saying but you've got experience and knowledge versus raw power and precision and determination. It's just, I think everything's clicked the last, especially but just before the Dempsey fight, I think a lot of things were really clicking and falling into place. He's got, as he said, it's not just me and Moses. He's got a fantastic team around him. His family are vital to his day-to-day support. His older brothers come on board and really, really made a big difference. We've got a great commercial team in my commercial partner, Rav. We've got a great girl, Georgia, who does the PR for us now. And, between all of us, it's all clicked. But the most important guy in the whole thing is this young man sitting to my right hand side. And do you know what? I've never seen anyone more determined and focused to succeed. And it makes our jobs, yes, tough, because he said, without a great team, he feels pressure, but we feel pressure because he's in the gym every day, busting his balls, and the expectations he sets on himself, he also sets on us because we all need to be aiming high, and that's I think that's the beauty of this, is that everyone's very, very ambitious.
You can hear the passion right there. Need to ask about a name. You said, all the heavyweights practically are with Queensbury. That's correct. One name that has been mentioned who isn't with Queensbury is a matchroom fighter, Justice Huni. Has there been talks about that fight?
I believe there's been a few conversations. I think first and foremost, most important, there's conversations amongst ourselves, and we all agree that's a fight that we'd like to take. And it's not about being, oh yeah, we'll have that. It's just, I think it's a good strategic move. I think the styles would gel beautifully for a very exciting fight, and I think it's a very winnable and challenging fight. There's no sidesteps here. Everything's got to be a positive step forward in terms of development for boxing career-wise, commercial-wise. And it's got to be an ambitious aim to move on to that next level. And Justice Huni definitely presents that. He's had, I think, he's on the 9th 10-rounder of his career in his last fight. So he has got that experience on how to get through championship fights versus Moses, who hasn't been a distance in a fight since his 3rd and 4th fights. So there's different challenges and different reasons why that I believe that is a good fight for him. If we can add some big titles to that, even better. 2 young, ambitious fighters wanted to take it to the next level and really jump onto elite stage. I think it's a perfect fight for both guys.
Just hand back to Moses. I know you welcome any fight, Justice Huni. Do you go along with those thoughts that Francis said?
Of course, I don't really want to shut down your question or anything, but with me, my job is to just get in the ring and fight. And I've said this multiple times. That's the only thing that I kind of have fully in my control, is my performances in the ring. All the rest of that stuff I leave to the team to sort out. Like Justice Huni, yeah, it's a name that I want to fight, but that's just a name. Obviously his name has a little bit of currency because of obviously what he's achieved, but any of these guys would do, honestly. And like Francis said, this year's about getting the big fights, get on a big stage, and make some money.
Last one to close. No, go on, Moses. This is to you actually. Last one to close off. You were in Riyadh. You saw Joseph Parker wipe out Martin Bakole in 2 rounds. Get your reaction to that, and also you were linked with a fight with Joseph Parker not too long ago. How would you have got on with Joseph Parker on Saturday?
So some fighters would do a 10-week training camp, spar, XYZ run, and still not perform on the night just because they don't have that self-belief. Whereas another fighter, he can slack off of training and still manage to win fights because he had self-belief. And Bakole carried into the ring his self-belief. I know I'm just quoting what AJ was saying, but he took into that fight self-belief. And some people like to take training camps, whereas Martin Bakole, he like I said, he took that fight because he believed in himself, and obviously you need the element of that in your game. Well, how would the fight between me and Parker will go down? I don't know. Would love to see it. Hopefully that happens one day. Obviously Parker's an old veteran in this sport, and you got to take your hat off to him and respect for what he's done. He is coming from losing to Joe Joyce to all this, winning the world title, losing it. Then that man's had a real Rocky-esque life. So I mean, you can't really hate on the man, but at the same time, this is the sport that we're in. It's like with football, man, you can play someone else, and you haven't got to hate the other team in order for you to play. It's the same like this. Boxing is a business, but it's also a sport. You ain't got to hate the person you're fighting in order to fight him. And Joseph Parker is just one of them guys where, if the fight was to ever come across, of course I would love to take it, but at the same time, it's not really something that I'm aiming towards unless he's got the titles that I want. Which, to be fair, he does, doesn't he? He's got the interim world title, so I'll leave it up to these boys.
Listen, Moses, appreciate the honesty you've given me in this interview. I look forward to news on you. We're here in May, so hope that is the case. And Francis, thank you for your time as well.
Thank you as always, my friend.
Thank you.